Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help.
So the mistake really is there's too much BS floating out there, and now it's out of our hands. There's no way to control it, so now they're saying they're going to control it. I want to see what they're going to do.
My team will review the applications and give credentials to new media applicants who meet our criteria and pass United States Secret Service requirements to enter the White House complex.
All right.
What'd she say?
It's been a while since we've checked in on The View, and if you thought things might have calmed down, think again. The show's still loud, still pushing the same over-the-top takes. But this time, they met some serious pushback. Bill Maher and Karoline Leavitt, an unexpected duo, stepped in and called them out, and honestly, they nailed it. So, what were the ladies of The View saying now? And how did Bill and Karoline respond with the perfect mix of straight talk and shot humor? Don't worry, we've got the best moments lined up for you. Let's dive in.
To get past this endless, unforgiving, zero-tolerance mindset bent on punishing and disappearing anyone caught saying the wrong thing. The right response to speech you don't like is more speech.
So, you might be wondering, why is Bill Maher suddenly talking about dialing down the hate between the left and the right? Well, the View crew isn't exactly thrilled about it. What really pushed them over the edge? Maher recently had dinner with former President Trump, and that did not sit well with them. Whoopi Goldberg was especially fired up. She slammed Maher for even sitting down with someone they see as public enemy number one. She was so upset, she wouldn't even say Trump's name.
Listen, take him seriously and take him literally.
I don't think that we have to. I think it would be remiss of us to not say Joe Biden knows how to do this. Yes, he knows how to do this. He's quite good at this. And you know, you can't refute anything with him because he just, when I say him, I mean
he rambles.
Trump.
Yeah.
He tends to just.
But can I mention one thing?
But Whoopi's outburst was just the start. What followed was a full-on character attack aimed at Bill Maher. The idea that he'd share a meal with someone they've spent years tearing down. That was too much for them to handle. To Whoopi and the rest of the panel, this wasn't just dinner, it was a flat-out betrayal. And in their eyes, no amount of jokes, honest conversation, or common ground could excuse what they saw as crossing the ultimate line.
How dare you be so flippant, man? Listen, nobody on the planet really wants to go through this. This is not something we're doing because it's, gratifying. This is what we're doing to protect our families. And you don't have to do it, but stay away from everybody.
If you know anything about Bill Maher, you knew he wasn't going to stay quiet, and he didn't. On a recent episode of Real Time, he fired back hard. With his trademark sarcasm and sharp commentary, Maher called out Whoopi and anyone else clutching their pearls over his visit to the White House. He broke down their outrage piece by piece, making one thing clear: he doesn't need their approval, and he's not asking for it. Classic Maher, blunt, fearless, and totally unapologetic.
As you know, 12 days ago, I had dinner with President Trump, a dinner that was set up by my friend Kid Rock, because we share a belief that there's got to be something better than hurling insults from 3,000 miles away. And let me first say that to all the people who treated this like it was some kind of summit meeting, you're ridiculous. Like I was going to sign a treaty or something. I have no power. I'm a comedian, and he's the most powerful leader in the world. I'm not the leader of anything, except maybe a contingent of centrist-minded people who think there's got to be a better way of running this country than hating each other every minute.
Before launching into his response to Whoopi Goldberg, which I'll play for you in just a moment, Bill Maher made one thing clear: this is still America, and democracy still matters. He reminded everyone that having different opinions doesn't mean we have to hate each other. Disagreeing doesn't have to turn into outrage. It's called civil discourse, something the ladies of The View seem to have tossed aside like last week's news. Maher wasn't just defending himself, he was standing up for the idea that we can disagree without going to war over it. Sounds fair, right? Well, not to Whoopi, who fired back, treating Maher's comments like a personal attack.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class.
I know as I say that, millions of liberal sphincters just tightened. Oh my God, Bill, are you going to say something nice about him? What I'm going to do is report exactly what happened. You decide what you think about it. And if that's not enough pure Trump hate for you, I don't give a f.
Whoopi even tried to draw a comparison between Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris, basically revealing what she really wanted, for it to have been Kamala who invited Maher to dinner instead. If that had happened, she wouldn't have blinked. In fact, she probably would have hosted the after-party. Every compliment Maher gave Trump, if those same words were aimed at Kamala, Whoopi would have been cheering him on. But because it was Trump, suddenly it was unforgivable. This wasn't about principles or consistency, it was about pure partisanship, and Whoopi made that crystal clear.
I want to talk about Whoopi Goldberg because I got so many texts this week because she attacked me the week before. Sure. So everybody was like, oh, Bill, I get you're enjoying the karma. First of all, I'm going to talk about this at the end of my show next week, teaser. But there is no thing as karma, okay? Get over that. Whoopi attacks me on a regular basis. She says stupid on a regular basis. They just happen to coincide.
And this is exactly why I respect Bill Maher. He doesn't just talk about free speech, he actually lives it. When the outraged crowd comes for him, he doesn't flinch. Even after Whoopi Goldberg called him out on national TV, Maher stood his ground and didn't budge. That kind of backbone is rare these days and deserves real credit. And get this, Whoopi's rant didn't just stir up drama, it sparked backlash from all sides, with some even calling for her to step down. But Maher didn't play the victim. Instead, he doubled down on what he believes, and that's what sets him apart. Of course, he didn't leave without dropping a few sharp jabs of his own.
Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
Did Bill Maher really just compare Whoopi Goldberg to a hunter and himself to a lion? Yep, he went there. Say what you want about Maher, but the guy knows how to land a punchline, and honestly, he had a point. Whoopi came charging in like she was out to take down a traitor, full of righteous fury. But instead of backing down, Maher flipped the script. He didn't run, he hit back with sharp wit and dead-on comebacks she didn't see coming. In the end, it wasn't the lion limping away, it was the hunter looking rattled. And just as Maher was cooling things off, White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt was just getting warmed up.
You know, we have seen cultural Marxism trickling its way through every institution in this country. The public school system, the higher education university system, Hollywood, big tech, the corrupt mainstream media that I fought against in President Trump's White House are indoctrinating my generation of Americans into hating our country, hating one another based on race and gender and sex and all of this other BS.
Karoline Leavitt couldn't have been more on point. The moral unraveling caused by today's wokeness has seeped into almost every part of society, leaving real damage in its wake. What was once seen as empathy and progress has turned into a toxic mix of censorship, division, and endless identity politics. The media doesn't focus on facts anymore. They spin their own narratives. Universities are cranking out ideologies instead of educating. Political parties care more about virtue signaling than real solutions. Even healthcare is starting to be driven by ideology rather than science and patient care. This isn't just a minor cultural shift, it's a full-blown crisis. Wokeness isn't fixing our society, it's hollowing it out. And Whoopi Goldberg? She's not just another loud opinion on TV, she's become the face of the very ideology that's poisoning public discourse. Her blind loyalty to woke dogma shows just how easily celebrity power can be used to shame, silence, and attack anyone who dares to disagree. Instead of promoting real conversation, she fuels a cancel culture that's tearing society apart. And just when you think things couldn't get hotter, Karoline Leavitt turned up the heat on Whoopi even more.
And the irony in all of this is that Joe Biden and the Democrats and these ladies on The View constantly say President Trump is the alleged threat to democracy, when in fact they themselves are wishfully thinking that President Trump will be imprisoned when he has not been convicted of any crimes. That is the real threat to democracy. Voters see that, and that's why President Trump continues his dominance.
Karoline Leavitt didn't hold back, and honestly, those View panelists had it coming for years. For too long, the women of The View have served up a steady diet of half-truths, spin, and outright nonsense, all disguised as feel-good commentary. Take their blind praise of Joe Biden, calling him the best thing to happen to America, even as it became painfully obvious he was struggling with cognitive issues right in front of everyone. And don't get me started on Kamala Harris. They crowned her the savior of democracy, despite her constant struggles to form a clear sentence without stumbling over a sea of buzzwords. It's propaganda wrapped in pearls, set against shiny backdrops with high-pitched giggles to match. But Karoline Leavitt wasn't there to play along. Armed with facts, calm confidence, and real backbone, she tore apart their delusions live on air. Of course, Whoopi Goldberg tried to fire back in her usual dramatic way, but Leavitt's response? Legendary.
The mistake really is there's too much BS floating out there, and now it's out of our hands. There's no way to control it, so now they're saying they're going to control it. I want to see what they're going to do.
My team will review the applications and give credentials to new media applicants who meet our criteria and pass United States Secret Service requirements to enter the White House complex.
Karoline Leavitt exposed the hypocrisy of a woman who preaches tolerance and unity, yet loses her mind over someone simply sharing a meal with a former president she dislikes. Leavitt reminded us all that real leadership is about standing firm in your beliefs, not bending to the loudest voices. This wasn't just a viral moment, it was a wake-up call. Each truth bomb she dropped chipped away at the chaos of unchecked woke hysteria. In the end, Leavitt and Bill Maher delivered a 1-2 punch that exposed the performative outrage and emotional drama coming from The View. Whoopi Goldberg's outrage over one dinner revealed a harsh reality. Those who shout the loudest about tolerance are often the ones practicing it the least. Maher held his ground, Leavitt came in swinging, and together they shattered the illusions put up by the media elite. This wasn't just another headline, it was a cultural shift. More Americans are waking up, and the old games of shame and spin are losing their power. The tide is turning, and truth is starting to push back. And that's a wrap for today's episode. If you love bold, no-holds-barred commentary, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Don't forget to share this with your friends. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.